Huh. All right. Check, check. Be sure I have these settings right. Okay. All right. We should be all set. I do have the chat open, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I just want to be sure. Let me know if you guys can all hear me just fine. Just to double check. Then we'll get going on our stream. All right, cool. Cool, cool. All right, so let's start with BTC here. I'm just gonna take a brief look at this. So I posted a market update yesterday. And when I did, price was here. I think this was the wick. And for me, like that was certainly not enough. Like I knew that we were going to be taking this out. There's no way we would get that close, right, and not eventually come back down and take that price out. So we did get this move to the upside here. We rejected from our upper trend line, and we are seeing some continued descent here. And what's interesting at the very least here is that this 4-hour candle is holding this trend line, right? The one that we have from here to here. As of right now, with about 47 minutes ago, it is still holding. Going down on a lower time frame, we could see that we did get an hourly close below, and this is a back test. So if we do, end up closing below this level, and this isn't just some kind of a deviation, then we would definitely be looking lower. Now, with that said, I personally wouldn't long here. Like to me, this is not, in my opinion, a zone to long. A trend line is not going to be enough for me to be like, yeah, okay, I'm going to take a long position here. And then two, if you look at like the 618 of the move, we are holding the 6-6, but this hasn't been like, you look at how this has come down, bounce off the 618, bounce off the 618, lose the 618, bounce at the 6-6, lose the 6-6. Now we're back testing the 6-6 and the trend line. On a 4-hour time frame, holding the trend line, holding the 6-6, good sign. But again, like for me, this isn't. I'm not interested here. I'm just not. Like I'm not interested in a trade in this zone. For me, I would like this lower area here. We have a closed naked session point of control, our val of the range plus in untapped daily level. In this zone here, I just want to double check which one I'm referring to. Okay, yeah, it's this one here at about 430. So I will pull that up just so you guys can see it as a reference. There it is. Back to our 4-hour time frame. So we do have an untapped daily level here, and along with this naked session point of control, like to me, this would be a good first spot for a bounce, in my opinion. Maybe, yeah, like I just like I'm not interested there. So like, come down here, maybe get a small bounce here, lose the daily, come down, hit that naked session point of control, and then kind of get maybe like a move back up to like this area here, back test this trend line for real. And then, come down here and hit kind of like this more main target, right? Because we do have a lot of liquidity at about this 16, 200, 300 area, right? As shown, I have this little liquidity bubble here, right? So for me, this is definitely more interesting in this zone. Like if we were to lose this, come down, small bounce consolidation here, lose it, come back up, maybe, you know, back test this trend line or even this one, because this has been holding as resistance. So if we extend it lower and then ultimately, you know, break through, come down, hit this 1 hour order block, the overall 618 plus this untapped daily with this liquidity pocket, you know, here I would look to hedge my short at the very least, and maybe even flip net long if I see negative delta, bullish divergences, like something of a good clean look, right? I would be somewhat interested in this zone. But overall, like when I look at this chart, for me, I think it's like pretty clear where we're headed. Okay. So we had this massive move down, this bit of consolidation here. We come down here. This zone I would consider hedging, but what I would really love is actually a move down here. Get people super bearish and then come back up to like the mid-range where a lot of people think we're going to be going lower. They're shorting this zone heavily, right? So like my initial plan was range low trap plan. See, I would have loved to have gotten a move up here, which we didn't get. Come down to this zone, consolidate higher. Bonus points, we get a rising wedge. Drop down to here. People get extremely bearish, right? Massive negative delta, bullish divergence. People think we're going lower, and we bounce. We come up, we backtest this zone, flip, boom, at least back to the at least back to the mid range. Right? So then like if you think, you know, get rid of this part here. If you think like effectively, and here I'll just do this. And then we'll go ahead and hide this. So if you think like effectively, what have we done? If we come down here, consolidate upwards, drop down, trap a bunch of short, like what did we do? Well, you look at this, like what do we have here is another lower high right here, right? High, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, right? Over and over and over. Why not then come down? Like I said, large negative delta, bullish divergence, trap the shorts. Oh my God, we're going to go lower. We're going to go so low. We're going to 10K. Trap them. Come back up here. Take out this high and take out all of these borderline equal highs. Rip it back up to this zone, right? Take them all out. And then from there, you know, either we continue to the high of the range or from there, then we actually do get our move down, right? Because at that point, then, you know, we'd have some highs, and so on and so forth. But to me, this is like, I really, really, really like this as a trade. I'm not sure that we'll get it. We have to wait and see what kind of reaction we get. But to me, this is like the next really good trade to take. Another area of very heavy liquidity is 15,300, so about here. So like say maybe we do this. We deviate the range instead. Let's say this area doesn't hold and we literally just fall to the bottom of the range. We just cut straight through here, consolidate upwards, drop through, grab the liquidity at 15,300, massive amount of liquidity, and it's a deviation. It's a deviation of the low of the range, right? So I would say like one of those two for me, like whether it's, you know, whether it's up here and we hit the bottom of the range and then go up, or if we deviate the low of the range, like either one of those for me are two really good trade setups that I am personally very much interested in, right? Like looking at where we're at right now, again, I'm just not, I don't really see a reason to long here. Okay, if we pumped, that's fine. I'm not going to feel like I missed out on a trade. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take the higher probability trade, and that is going to be to short a swing up here, right? I would rather short up here in this zone or in this zone than long here. And I would rather long here or here than here. To me, there's just like no point in taking a trade. And that's for me personally. That's just not it's just not for me, right? So yeah, those would be the setups that I'm looking for. Like I said, move up, I would look to trade swinging these highs or coming up to this order block, filling this fair value gap here, this daily fair value gap, or otherwise, especially like I said, like doing, either a deviation, right? Like one of these two things, right? Either we, come to the bottom of the range here or we deviate the range low. Like these two setups for me, definitely going to keep an eye out for. Okay, cool. If you guys have any questions about that, just let me know. But yeah, that's just my thought process. Like here, you look at all these higher lows. What happened? Well, we've been ripping through them one by one. And what are we doing in the process? We're creating some lower highs that later on we'll cut through. Okay, it's range trading. That's all that it is. Ethereum. Okay, so we had this potential rising wedge forming. We've broken down from that, and it didn't, complete its formation. In fact, this falling wedge is looking to be more respected, right? This upper trend line is more respected than this lower trend line here, right? So from here, like I said, there's a pretty big pocket of liquidity here. And of course, then just taking out this low, it looks like, let's see, did we get it? We did take out this low by a little bit, by just a little bit. Oh man, it's close. I'm not going to count it. I want to see it taken. If anything, that would just be a double bottom, right? Yeah, so again, for me, like I don't see any reason taking this trade. Yeah, this is an untapped weekly level, typically a really good level for some degree of a bounce. But like, is this the kind of reaction that you would want to see off of a untapped weekly level? For me, not really, right? Like to see this sort of sideways bounce, like just a few dollars above the untapped weekly level, I'm not interested. To me, this says, we're probably going to go lower, right? If anything, maybe come up here, just consolidate. But for me, I think that this pocket of liquidity is definitely up for grabs at about 1160. And then from there, I personally, I like this untapped daily level more. We have the 786 of this entire move up here. And it's also an H1 order block all within this zone here, right? And then we do also have this macro trend line. It's been tapped twice. A third tap, would be really nice, and also I think a good trade to take. So like I said, I think that getting this move down here, kind of doing something like that would be ideal. It doesn't really play into this wedge, which we'll just kind of have to lose it unless it really just drops here like that. I don't really like how steep this wedge is unless we get some serious volatility, like I said, that we just start dropping. I think it's more likely that we'd see, kind of like, move down. I don't know, like a move down here, consolidate, come back down, tap that trend line, and then market structure change and, come back up to at least the midline. Right? Like for me, that would be more interesting. And again, here too, we can add another high to be taken out right here. So I'm going to remove this. I'm actually going to remove this for the time being. And again, like I don't love how steep this structure is. Like I'm not a huge fan of it. Unless, like I said, we were to really see some moves down where we can possibly get this bottom trend line again. But I'm not really crazy into this structure. For me, I do like this lower trend line here. And I do like this weekly, the 786, the H1 order block. Like I think all of this really adds up to like a nice zone for some better support than like what we're seeing right now. Again, is that to say we couldn't bounce here? No, not at all. Sure, maybe we could bounce. You know, maybe we do see some degree of a move up. But do I think that we're going to see a move up where we take out this high? I'm not particularly convinced right now. You know, if anything, we sort of consolidate, and again, you know, we just continue down until we hit more of this, you know, somewhat of this key zone down here, right? I want people to get really bearish. I want to see an aggressive move. I want to see a lot of negative delta, possible bullish divergences, and then yeah, I'm more than happy to start laddering into longs in this area here, and then you know consolidate whatever. Maybe we move out of here, and then you know then we can see her move back up to the mid range. For me, that's what I would be looking for there. Moving on to Litecoin. Litecoin has been great. Litecoin has been awesome. I've loved trading Litecoin. I've taken a handful of trades on it. Shorted up here. Rode that short down to here. Longed here, and I rode that long up to here. Took profit. Opened up a short here. And I've been, you know, now very, very happily trading that down. Earlier today, I said that there was a rising wedge on the 1 hour. I just went down to the half hour to see it a little bit more clearly. And for a rising wedge, what is the primary target? The 0.5. Hit the 0.5 almost to the dollar here. And then we saw a massive rejection. And since then have continued to move down. And I had said in the Discord that I don't particularly like this support. And I said it's likely we'll see a small pump for the day and then continuation of the downside. And that has played out perfectly. I'm like loving trading LTC. And where do we find support is at this H1 order block. We've also filled this daily fair value gap. So again, you know, not somewhere I would take a trade, but wouldn't be surprised if we saw some degree of a bounce, and then we can just simply put in, you know, another lower high, right? So let me get rid of these here. Yeah, maybe, you know, maybe some degree of a small bounce here. We put in a lower high and then have continuation down, or we just simply continue down to, you know, our other zone that I find more interesting. For me, again, and this is like a learning opportunity in my opinion. For me, when I saw this is just really simple. Let's let me find the replay here. We'll just go back to here. So for me, when I see this and I see all of these like borderline equal lows that have not been taken out, like look at that. Those are just ripe for the taking. And honestly, like for a long setup, what I like for a long setup is to come like this, up, down, cut through, market structure change, continuation to the upside. To me, this is awesome setup. Like I love this. Okay, now in the event that we get here and it's weak, then we can just continue lower. Sure, no problem. We'll reevaluate. But until then, I want to see how price reacts here. And this would like be my analysis that we would take out these lows. Like they're just ripe for the taking, and like this would be a perfect setup. So then, you know, where's the play button? Oh, here it is. Yeah, and then just like seeing this play out, like it's just been so nice, right? Because we're very clearly coming for these lows, right? That's the target. We're gonna take these out. That's the goal. So being here again, not particularly interested in a long position until this low here is taken out, and once it is, given the support that we have here, this is the range value area high from the previous thing because we broke out, right? An untapped weekly level, a nice trend line here. All of these things put together, you know, with a daily right below it, an untapped daily. Like, I just really love this. Like, I would not at all in any way, shape, or form be surprised if we come down here, we take out this low, and we rip. Okay. This is I love this setup for a long, right? Because everybody who longed here, they're all about to get stopped out. And then guess what's going to happen? They're going to be super pissed off because they were right to long here. They made the right move, right? Price would end up going higher. Now where they were wrong is how it was going to get there. They thought from here it would just go up, but instead it goes up, takes out their stops, and then gets the move up that they were looking for. So I've seen this setup before, and I really, really like it. And as soon as I saw it here just like this, I was like, holy shit, this is a really, really good one. So we'll just have to be patient, wait and see how it plays out. And again, maybe we don't get it all. You know, maybe it just simply drops through the level and we look lower, and that's that. So we'll just have to take it step by step. But again, this is awesome setup. Okay, so we are going to take a look at MATIC. Normally I would play music and I really want to, but there were some like copyright issues with the stream for some people, so they weren't able to watch it. Which is a bummer. So I'm not really sure what to do. I guess it'll just be something I have to look into at another time. Someone mentioned that there is music on YouTube that I can just listen to, but I guess I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that works, so we'll just have to revisit it another day. That said, I am going to turn on some for myself. Yeah, so I'll do a start to finish analysis on MATIC here. And you know, if you guys have questions, just feel free to ask. Just looking up a playlist here. I'm gonna throw something on for myself. All right, I'm gonna set the mic aside and get to charting. Enjoy, guys. Like I said, if you have questions, feel free to ask.
website visitors bouncing? Stress less. Convert more. Try Hotjar.
Better use plus 500.
What?
Because trading with plus 500, it's like playing bridge for the first time. Plus knowing Grandma's on your team.
Hi, Grandma.
Plus 500. It's trading with a plus.
All right. Give me a second here. Get this set up. Okay. Um, this is a pretty interesting chart to look at, and this will maybe sound kind of funny, giving everything like all things considered right now, like with the way that the market is. What makes this chart really interesting, actually a little bit harder for me to like pinpoint on what's going to happen next, is how volatile it is. And it sounds funny because like I'm so um I'm so used to trading like a very non-volatile environment. So like to imagine, I'll just kind of give you an example of what I mean. So like if I'm looking at this chart right now, like with the way things are, let's just like zoom out. I'm going to close this, get rid of this. All right, so like looking at this chart as is, first of all, let's be clear about one thing. Like I want to like show you guys a couple things before we get too crazy. Okay, November. So in a month and a half, and here's the best part about it too is that it did it in like a week. Is that price came down 41% in like a week. And then it bounced 52% in a single day. And has since then drawn down another 34%. So, like when I look at this chart, I mean, it's pretty, I don't know, it's a pretty similar story to a lot of things that we're seeing, but like one thing that stands out to me right away is, I'm just going to go ahead and hide this, is these borderline equal lows throughout here. So like we just put this one in most recently. We kind of took these out, but like barely. It was very anticlimactic, which can happen sometimes, right? We'll hit these. We grabbed the liquidity, but no buyers are interested. So we have this like lackluster move up, sort of sideways consolidation, which means, in my opinion, that we're actually targeting at the very least these lows. So again, like from here, if I'm just looking at this chart, I would say, yeah, we're probably gonna like get a move down to basically down to this zone. Now, what's odd about that, like the reason why I can't get a read on if that, like it doesn't seem possible to me because that's a 20% drop, right? And on Bitcoin, we've been trading like I don't know, like what is this? Oh, where is my? Today we got a 2% move down, right? And we've been in this like 3% range. So it's just like not a lot is happening here. Like for BTC to like get down to my kind of ideal target from current price is a 5% move down, right? So I'm looking at MATIC and I'm like, okay, yeah, like this is probably where I would be most interested in like some degree of an actual bounce, not just like something, lackluster and like not so much of a move, but that's 20% down. Now, given the moves that it's like had in the past, is that doable? Yeah, I mean, obviously it is. But what I could say is this, is that going down to like a lower time frame, going down to a lower time frame, like there's really no reason to have support below these lows here. We do have this order block here. But I like, if it does hold I would personally prefer that we would go down to like this daily in the 618 and the 66. So like that's this green zone, right? Somewhere generally like in this green zone to me is more preferable, right? Could we come down here? Like let's say we come here, start to consolidate, take out the low, right? And then yeah, like maybe we could kind of get some degree of a bounce and a move up here to like maybe fill this order gap or something like that. Take out like maybe these highs here. Um, but I would prefer here because I don't know, just like these lows in my opinion need to get taken out, altogether. Like they've sort of just been lingering here, right? So it's similar to like that LTC setup where, we had this. Well, now why don't we go like this? Market structure change and come back up to the high. And then, from there, then come crashing down. Or we end up just coming down here. So I always recommend this. Whenever you start charting a new asset, I think it's really important to chart it, do some paper trades. And by paper trades, I mean like, for example, I'm gonna look for like a long setup or something here and see if my trade would work out, and if it does, basically kind of get an idea for how the asset moves, because this one is very different than what I've been trading, which is primarily BTC, right? And then as of late, LTC as well. Okay. So I'm a little, where are you right here? Yeah. Put this up here. I'm a little hesitant on like calling anything on this just yet until I kind of see how it behaves moving forward here. But what I see right now is that there's a lot of negative delta. And again, this is the other thing. Like, I don't know if this is a lot of negative delta for MATIC as an asset, right? To have 145 million, is that a lot for this asset, or is that, can we expect more, right? Can we maybe double it and go up to 300 million negative delta before we see a reversal, or is this enough to warrant some kind of a bounce? So like that's another thing I want to keep an eye on here. I'm not entirely sure how to read what to necessarily expect next, because what I would consider to happen next seems so like ludicrous to me, right? It seems like absurd. So for me, like I said, I would look for, here, take out that low, or I would look for even lower to take out both of them, fill this fair value gap, or even better yet, deviate the daily, come down here, bounce off the fair value gap, and then get a move up, right? So like what did I just delete? For me, like the two areas of interest I would say would be, yeah, especially in that green zone, but like, here I think is interesting, and then, possibly somewhere in here might be interesting. Like these areas, and then, especially of course like filling the gap and going down to the order block, like of course would be, I think that would be a really good one too. But yeah, I want to see like how aggressive it goes as a move. But for sure, like how long ago were these put in? 22nd, 19th. Yeah, I would for sure like to see at the very least these lows taken out. Like I said, order block. Preferably we, find some support, not really, and then fall through the order block. That would be ideal. But just taking out these lows to me would be really important. So yeah, like ultimately, what do I see here? Um, I think that MATIC is prepping to fall off of a ledge here, and that ledge is to ultimately take out these lows here. Okay, so it's boom, come down, take out those lows. Let's get rid of these. Come down, take out those lows. Let's go into a daily. sweep the lows, you know, and then have some degree of a bounce to the upside. You know, maybe back up to like this untapped daily, like around this zone 92, depending on how strong the push down is. At the very least, like that, this is kind of what I would be seeing or looking at. And two, it really lines up like with this, you know, area of support that we've had from back here. It was resistance, right? Come back tested as support, you know, and at the very least, we could trade it to the midline, possibly back up to like 92 or this fair value gap here. Like I said, me charting it, what I see, a move down to here. Now, I can't quite like wrap my head around that because like I said, I've been trading 2% moves and that's a 20% drop. So is that what's going to happen? You know, to be seen. Let's like watch to see how this all develops and plays out. But I'll walk you through my thought process is that, you know, if you can imagine, let's just hide some of this stuff here. If you can imagine, like you see this midpoint here, right? Well, bounce, bounce, deviation, bounce, you know, bounce, bounce, deviation, bounce, 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 consolidate. There obviously hasn't been a lot of buying power to push higher, right? We were seeing a failure of it here. And I assume there was a lot of shorts building up in this zone, so we squeezed them. And again, bounce, bounce, and now again we're seeing the same thing where, you know, lack of buying power basically above, you know, this level here, right about 92. I only would credit this to a squeeze, hence how volatile it was. There was probably a lot of delta built up. So due to that like lack of buying power, I don't really see, until a lot of shorts are built up again, like a reason to expect us to like go higher unless we just, you know, continue to kind of put in this range here. I think we're prepping for something of a drop, you know, through this level. And if you think about it, like this is sort of a lower range in and of itself. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if like, you know, we drop here, we back test the mid zone, and then we just sort of, you know, then this is essentially the new playground right down here. And we start to build it up down here, right? I wouldn't be surprised if that was the scenario where we drop through, we back test the midline, and then we look lower. And again, like I said, like for me, this would be the best area of support would be in here, drop somewhere in here, right? Whatever, back test, come down, eventually lose the level, maybe bounce on here, and then, you know, a series of lower highs that then we sweep, you know, later on a massive short squeeze. That's kind of what I'm seeing. Like that's when I look at this, it's like, yeah, I really think that we're gearing up for a move down. Like I like I said, I don't really see a reason to go higher here. It's just that my only hesitation is like the move is so big, right? So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But yeah, like I said, I think this is interesting here. If we get down there, a lot of negative delta, bullish divergences, maybe we see some kind of a wedge or a formation, something set up, a swing failure pattern, whatever it might be. Yeah, this is the 618 of this area. It's, you know, right below the midline. Like I don't see, maybe at the very least we could trade it up back to the midline and perhaps we flip this, you know, to resistance, like I said, and then we see continuation to the downside. Or, you know, maybe it's a deviation and we reclaim and we get another move up. You know, it's just, we'll have to just sort of wait and see. But to me, the most interesting area on the chart right now is in this green box. This is definitely where I look right now. And like I said, this doesn't look bullish. Like I don't think that this is prepping for a move up just yet. I would at the very least need to get a move here and then, you know, and then from there we can evaluate, right? Are there any questions on that analysis right now? All right, cool. Well, we will call it on that then. And again, I'm going to frequently chart this. I'll update it every week. It'll be a part of my market update videos, and we'll follow it. Obviously, it's been a insanely volatile coin. So yeah, moving forward, it's definitely something we'll keep an eye on. Like I said, it looks prepped for a move down, and we'll reevaluate when and if we do get that move down there. If it did, by some whatever reason, get a short squeeze, you know, I would probably just look to take these out. For I personally don't see why this would happen, but like I would look for like a move here like this, and then pop up there real quick, and then we would, you know, continue the descent. As a matter of fact, if this happened, I would almost think we would probably go a little bit lower even. You know, we'll just have to play it by ear. But for me, I think that like if we aggressively come back down here, I think that there's a lot to squeeze. We could come back up here and then, you know, and then rotate down. I think that'd be a really cool setup. So, all right, guys, thanks for joining me. And again, I will be in the Discord through Friday. And then, you know, through next week as well, we do have quite a bit of volatility incoming next week with some updates. And I will be going on a very short vacation starting January 6th. So leading up to that, I will be very active. I'll post as many updates as I can to keep you guys in the loop. And then, you know, after that, I'll be gone for about 5 days. So, all right, thanks again for joining me, guys, and we'll see you in the Discord.